Hello, I'm the first proposition speaker on the resolution this House would require corporate boards to have women members. I will first go through our definitions, and then I will state our plan, and then our contentions, and then I will go back through and further continue on our contentions. Our definitions are, we define this House as the United States of America, and corporate board as an elected group of individuals that represent shareholders. The board is a governing body that meets at regular intervals to set policies for corporate management and oversight. We plan to expand the laws in California to the rest of the nation. Basically, this means that there must be at least 40% of the board being women by 2024, considering that the women are qualified for this position. We're not just going to thrust random people into these seats, taking what could be a qualified person. Everyone who's going to be seated on this board is going to be qualified for that position. Executive profits will be tied to the violations of this bill. So we were imagining 10% of the profit from the previous year as a violation for going against this law. Our first contention is in the current workplace, women are more likely to be excluded from corporate boards due to gender biases. Our second contention is gender diversity on corporate boards can lead to more collaboration, productivity, and creativity, and thus creating more company success. Our third contention is there are certain products and marketing techniques that women have more insight on or a different perspective on. I'll now go further into our first contention. Women only hold 5,261 board seats out of 25,770 seats. This number is minuscule. We need to keep growing it in order for more diverse perspectives to have a seat at these tables. Only 1/3 of 2,712 companies in the Russell 3000 in the last 5 years have added female members. In order for these changes to be made, we need the law behind it. People aren't doing this on their own. We need more legislation behind it in order to see more equality in the workplace. The richer the organization is, the larger gender biased compensation gap is. So for example, on nonprofit boards, overall women comprised 43% of the membership of nonprofit boards in 2015, but that drops to only 33% when considering the boards of nonprofits with incomes of 25 million or more. In order to get women in high achieving positions of power, we need to have legislation behind it so that people will back up. Just 1 minute. Gender diversity on corporate boards can lead to more collaboration, productivity, and creativity, thus creating more company success. The more different diverse perspectives you have on a certain issue, the more different diverse solutions you're going to come up with. By having people with different backgrounds and different ideas behind whatever there is they're coming from, they will be able to come up with better, faster, more efficient solutions to whatever the issue at hand is. By having these yes.
What use is diversity if no one is listening to you?
Well, if they make up 50% of the board, people are going to have to start to listen. By putting this legislation in place, it gives them a stepping stone in order to get into these positions of power so that their voice will be heard. Like I was saying before, having more different diverse perspectives will create a more efficient and faster solution to whatever the issue is at hand, including creating different products and commercial things that will help people be more attracted to whatever the company is. According to HBR, diversity is directly linked with creativity, which can be very beneficial in the workplace. When in the professional world, we see that women are chosen less than men, even if they have the same qualifications. For example, in 2016, there was a review done on Harvard where people submitted 2 applications exactly the same. The only difference is that on one application, the name was John and the other is Jane. John was chosen over Jane, even though they were the exact same qualifications. The applications were the exact same. This shows that in the professional world, men are chosen over women purely just because they're men. In order to fix this, we need legislation behind us. Now I'm going to go on to our third contention, which is there are certain products and marketing techniques that women have more insight on or different perspective on. Women's products, such as women's clothing, shoes, and hygiene products, are simply sold better by women. A man wouldn't know what a woman wants in a certain product tailored for a woman. By having more women on the board, you can see they can come up with better ideas as to how to sell these products. According to Business Insider, 85% of women make purchasing decisions within their household. again, women who are making purchasing decisions are going to know what other women making purchasing decisions are going to want in their products. Thank you for listening to my speech, and I hope you cast a ballot in the proposition side. Thank you.
Hi, I'm first off, and I'm on the opposite side of the resolution that this House would require corporate boards to have women members. I'd first like to go over my own points, move on to my opponent's points, and start to boil down this debate to two main points, which really start to win this debate. Okay. So now, my first point is that women are capable and that women don't need a law or policy to see progress. Women have achieved so much without a law, and women have the ability to work their way up from the bottom of the social ladder. In fact, the share of Fortune 500 companies in 2017 with female board members was 22%, compared to 9.6% in 1995, which is over a 250% increase in over 22 years, according to the Pew Research Center. And already, nearly 1/3 of S&P 500 boards include 3 or more members. And in total, boards with 3 or more women has risen over 50% in 3 years. So this means that women have the ability to climb their way up the social ladder and don't need the help of a law. And instead, we are just fixing something that doesn't need to be fixed and something that isn't broken. And if we keep trying to fix this, it will only make it worse. And now this leads to my second contention, which is that a law or policy will lead to tokenization, dispowerment, and lack of respect. So a law or policy will lead to tokenization, as for workplaces will start accepting women not because of their qualifications, but instead because they need to meet a requirement. And women have so many unique qualities that will just end up being overlooked just based on their gender. And women are obviously capable of making it onto corporate boards, as stated by our first contention. But by putting a law, you're putting a policy in place that is assuming that they need aid, yet they don't. And this is just helping something that doesn't need to be helped, as I stated in my first contention. And now tokenization will just lead to disempowerment. And so by having disempowerment, you are telling these women that they can't make it up onto corporate boards without the law. And as I said, this is already untrue. And so women don't need this unfair advantage because we've seen that they've already made obvious progress and that this trend is ongoing. In fact, in a Harvard Business Review study, interviewers asked both women and men in America about this topic. And one female director replied, "No one wants to be a second-class citizen." And now what this means is that women don't want to take this advantage and instead think it's insulting that the government thinks they need this advantage. And so this is exactly promoting what the proposition is going against. The fact that you are disempowering women and thinking that they are not capable of achieving these high standards that you put men up to. And this is simply insulting and will lead to hopelessness and disempowerment, which is exactly what the proposition is saying. And now tokenization will also lead to lack of respect. As for female board members may not be as heard. As for many other corporate members will feel that women will get on board not only to get where they are with the help of the law. And as a result, their ideas won't be taken seriously and respect will decrease. In fact, in a book by Rosabeth Moss-Kanter, a Harvard business professor, highlighted how token women in a group of men are more subject to more performance pressure and are forced into few slots of work positions, which will heighten stereotypes and restrict progress in corporations and gender equality. And so what does this mean? This means that this law will only create a lack of respect against women and a lack of confidence in women, which will lead to lack of leadership in women. And at the end of the day, corporate boards are supposed to have leaders. And if you don't have leaders that are confident and capable in themselves, then this is something we should not. Instead, this law will only make women feel worse about themselves and will have other people feel worse about them. And so this will only lead to lack of leadership in women. And this is something that we don't want to have women in our corporate boards. And finally, there are better alternatives to a gender. In fact, gender quotas almost always fail. and it is impossible to negate all loopholes that have been taking advantage in the law, and will lead to opposite effects. In fact, an example is a quota in France, which acted on more balanced hiring and backlash, and made the problem much worse instead of better. An economist from the Paris Institute of Political Studies states that some men may be angry because they feel like the government didn't trust them. And alternatively, the quotas may have reduced committees' impetus or driving force to hire more women to create an illusion of gender equality that isn't there. So instead, what do we believe should be done? Instead, we believe of working from the bottom up. We believe that by pushing women into corporate boards will only make this problem worse instead of better, and will only lead to less, not only lack of leadership in women, but also lack of confidence in women themselves. And so instead, by pushing women in education and by helping them find a passion that they didn't know they had, or by helping them go to higher jobs, this will allow women to naturally rise to the top and lead our country much better than what side proposition enforces. Instead, that we believe that we should have these women in corporate boards climb up by themselves so that they can earn more confidence and more respect. And so moving on to my opponent's contentions, my opponent's first contention states that women don't hold enough board seats. And instead, that we think that this clashes with our second contention, and that we believe that nothing matters if women voices aren't heard. And this goes the same with their second and third contentions. Thank you, and I'm proud to propose.
Good afternoon. I'm the second speaker of the proposition side of the motion. This House would require corporate boards to have women members. I will first start by refuting my opponent's contentions and then further strengthening my own. My opponent's first contention was that women don't need a policy to succeed in the business world. However, only 1/3 of the 2,712 companies in the Russell 3000 in the last 5 years have added female members. We need a policy for equality. The opposition claims that women have been getting more spots over the years, but the change has been slow and we need to speed it up. If we truly want equality, protect the time. If we truly want gender equality and if we want it fast, this is what we need to do. We need to provoke change. My opponent's second contention was that the law will become a tokenization of women. However, and they claim that women's qualities will be overlooked if they are guaranteed spots. However, women's qualities will not be overlooked. They will actually be looked at. Right now, women are not represented in the business world. So by having at least 40% of a corporate board be women will actually let women express their ideas and truly be represented. Their ideas will not be overlooked. They're not even looked at right now.
POI?
Yes. Op rebuttal, yes.
So, why are people going to listen to women if they might think that those women don't deserve to be on the board?
Well, we can't exactly change the way men think, but if we show men that they're not guaranteed a spot, and if we show them that there are other people who have ideas who also deserve these spots, we're not just going to hire women who are unqualified. We're going to hire women who are qualified for the job, of course. There are plenty of women out there. So it's not like we're hiring someone who doesn't deserve it. We're just showing men that they have had a privilege for so long, and right now we're doing something about it.
POI?
No, thank you. Right now, women are not respected, and they need help, and they need it fast. That's why we're doing this. We're not giving them an unfair advantage. We are aiding the half of the population that has been oppressed for centuries. My opponent's third contention was that there are better alternatives to gender quotas. However, and they claimed that it would be better to change things from the ground up by giving women education. However, women already have education, and there's not much we can really do to change the way we're educating women. And it's
DOI?
no, thank you. It's messy and complicated to change things from the ground up. We need change now, and this is the way to do that. As a society, we have an unconscious bias against women, and women have already received education. As my partner Leah already stated, there were 2 of the exact same applications that were sent to Harvard. The only difference was that one had a man's name and one had a woman's. The man got in, the woman didn't. So education isn't the way to change this. So now I would like to further strengthen my own contentions. So our first contention is, in the current workplace, women are more likely to be excluded from corporate boards due to gender biases. According to the United States Equal Employment Opportunity Commissions, 51% of women experience harassment in the workplace. Women are disrespected, and even if they're more valuable to the company than men, or just as valuable. Due to these gender biases that have existed in our society for centuries, it's harder for women to receive the same opportunities as men. So by having this quota, we're actually going to be helping them get to the same level so that they can get into the corporate world and get ahead. Also, I would like to now support our second contention, which is gender diversity on corporate boards can lead to more collaboration, productivity, and thus more company success. Diverse different ways of thinking will always be more successful than a group of the same people thinking. Women can have different ideas and different perspectives because they come from different backgrounds. And so by having people who have different perspectives, who think differently, companies are going to have better, more efficient ideas, which will lead to higher profits. And that's the goal of a corporate board, to increase profits for a company.
POI?
Protected time. And by having women on corporate boards, we can help them achieve that in a more diverse and more equitable way. So now I would like to support our third contention, which is that there are certain products and marketing techniques that women can have more insight on or a different perspective on. So I would like to give an example. Seatbelts are designed for male bodies. According to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, women are 73% more likely to be seriously injured in a car crash and 17% more likely to die. Requiring a certain number of women to be on a board will allow such concerns as this to be raised from all perspectives. When a problem doesn't concern you, you don't generally think of solutions for it. But if women had been on that board, they would have recognized that issue. I would like to finish by saying that the opposition did not refute our claims. They simply said that our claims clashed. So
Wrap it up.
Accept our contentions. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you cast a ballot for the proposition.
Judge. I'm the second speaker for the opposition side of this case, and for the remainder of my time, I will be going through my refutations against the proposition side. So first of all, I'd like to point out that their last 2 contentions are not really supporting their case. What they are supporting is the increase of women on corporate boards, which doesn't have to be based on a law. What opposition and proposition sides are both fighting for is women equality on corporate boards. But the thing is, what proposition is missing is that their side of the case, by enforcing this law, they are not choosing the most beneficial way. They are choosing the fastest way, which will actually lead to more harms, more risk of harms than actual benefits. They cannot guarantee any of these benefits because with what opposition side is realizing is that all in all, we cannot guarantee that women on these boards will be listened to because they will be suspected of many women on these boards, if this law is passed, many women on these boards will be suspect to tokenization and their voices will not be as heard as they will for men. Go ahead.
Don't we want gender equality as fast as possible, though? Like, if this is the quickest way to get to it, why wouldn't we choose this way?
Because of propositions' impatience to wait for things to naturally play out, what they are doing is they are risking harms that will, all in all, lead to a worse status quo than right now. What we are doing is we are working towards gender equality naturally. We can see throughout statistics and throughout the years that women have worked their way up in the corporate positions. We have seen this through statistics such as in 2018, corporate boards globally had at least 3 women. This was 32% of corporate boards had at least 3 women. And in the following year after that, that number rose by 4%. So we can see an obvious steady increase of women on corporate boards. So instead of pushing things and risking harms, what we need to do is we need to let things work themselves out organically, like we have been doing throughout the years, because that has been working for us so far. Also, what you are doing is you are not creating gender equality per se. What you are doing is you are creating this facade of gender equality, because under that mask, what you are doing is you are actually disempowering women. This relates back to my second contention. By incorporating this law, what you are doing is you are saying that women, go ahead.
Don't gender spots exist already, though? Like, in other corporations, there are already spots saying X many people have to be of this minority. Don't they already exist and are working in our society?
Well, I'm not saying that, okay, I'm saying that basically by incorporating these laws, whether or not, you cannot guarantee success with these laws, because we have seen through disempowerment, tokenization, and just lack of respect in general towards women because of guaranteeing them these spots on corporate boards, you can see that the harms obviously outweigh the benefits that the proposition side is promising. I'd also like to point out, once again, it is not actual gender equality that they're promoting, because under that mask of gender equality, they are actually disempowering women, because they are making them believe that they do not have what it takes to make it towards high positions on corporate boards based on just their qualities. Also, their last go ahead.
But isn't it a true statement that if you have a man and a woman, as their evidence showed, a man would be chosen over a woman?
That is a test, and it can't be said for every single corporate board out there. You have one test that you submitted, you had one test like that, and that cannot guarantee that every single corporate board in the United States of America is going to choose a man applicant over a woman. Like I was saying, you are disempowering women under that mask, because by you are disempowering women because you are making them feel like what they have been doing over the years isn't good enough. You are trying to force results with a law, which isn't even needed, because women throughout the years have shown time and time again that they can work their way up. Women started at the very bottom of the social ladder, and here we are taking up 40% of new CEOs on Fortune 1000 boards. Okay. Also, you keep on pointing out that the only way that we are going to get results is by having legislation take action in this situation. But the fact is, we do not need legislation in order to work our way up. As First Op also pointed out, we have other plans that will be able to have us see the same results of increased women in corporate boards, such as enforcing STEM programs for women in school. Thank you, and I'm proud to oppose.
Hello, I am the third opposition speaker, and I am going to be giving a rebuttal speech for this debate. I am going to start off by talking about which benefits and harms are exclusive to each side in this debate, and then I will move into explaining the 2 different worlds that are created by this debate. So to start off with exclusiveness, our opponent's first contention, they are basically saying that women are more likely to be excluded from corporate boards. So if we make this law that guarantees women getting onto corporate boards, then we will get women on corporate boards. So overall, their benefit here is that with this law, because women are more likely to be excluded if we use a law, then we'll end up with women on corporate boards. So overall, they want women on corporate boards. However, in both worlds, we get women on corporate boards. In the opposition world, we get women on corporate boards because we let women make progress by themselves rather than forcing them with the law. As we said in our first contention, women have been making progress and they have been getting on these corporate boards by themselves without the need of an unnecessary law. So that benefit is not exclusive. Now to their second contention. Their second contention is that more collaboration and diversity will like improve the quality of corporate boards. And so this benefit is not exclusive either. As I have said, women are getting on corporate boards just naturally without a law. They are qualified and they are capable of getting on corporate boards. So this is not an exclusive benefit either. Women will end up on corporate boards either way. They don't need a law. And then finally, their third contention, there are certain products that women have more insight on, and so that will be better for companies and for women buying these products. Overall, they want women on corporate boards to help with the management of these products. And so as well, in our world, we have women on corporate boards as well, because women are getting on corporate boards. In the status quo, there are women getting on corporate boards, and women continue to get on these boards. So this is not an exclusive benefit either, because women are able to help with these products that are, that they have more insight on. So overall, that is not an exclusive benefit either. But what are the exclusive harms? So we know that the benefits are not exclusive, that we get the benefits on opposition as well. But how about the harms? So all of the harms are exclusive to proposition. Proposition gets all of these harms that we mentioned in our second contention, that a law or policy will lead to tokenization, disempowerment, and a lack of respect. So overall, we are saying that tokenization, what we mean by this is that some men on corporate boards may just assume that women are tokens, assume that they're less qualified. So this could lead to an increase in like sexism and just, if everybody's competing on corporate boards because they think that they don't want to be outclassed by someone who isn't even qualified, then this could lead to corporate boards having a decrease in quality. So overall, we don't want this tokenization happening, and it only happens in the propositions world, and it does not happen in opposition because we let things happen naturally. We let women get on boards without a law. So men always know these women got on here without a law, they are qualified, they deserve to be here. So how about disempowerment? In the propositions world, and only in their world, women are disempowered because the government makes this law. They are saying to women, they are saying, you need a law to get on corporate boards. You can't get on them by yourselves. You are not able to do it. You're not capable. You need a law. And so this is very disempowering to women. And this does not happen on our side because we let things happen the natural way. We let women get on corporate boards by themselves. So overall, a lack of respect, disempowerment, tokenization, these are all harms that are exclusive to the proposition because they rush ahead and they use a law to try and force women onto boards. They force the benefits and they end up with much more harms. So overall, what does this mean in the two different worlds that are created in this resolution? So let's start with the proposition world. Because the proposition prioritizes speed over efficiency, they end up rushing into it and they get the harms that we explain in our second contention. They get tokenization and they get sexism and lower quality corporate boards, as I explained earlier. So overall, the propositions world is filled with many harms because they rushed into it. They rushed equality. However, in our world, we trust women, we respect women, and we know that women are able to get on these corporate boards by themselves because they are capable and they are strong, and we have seen them make progress from the bottom up to the top of the chain. So because we trust women and we allow them to do this by themselves, we don't suffer the harms that the proposition does. We get women on corporate boards, we get the benefits that they explain in their second contention, and overall, we just have all the benefits and none of the harms. So clearly, the opposition is the superior world. Thank you, and I am proud to oppose.
Hello, I am the final speaker for the proposition side, as well as the final speaker for the entire debate. So that means I'll be working to sum up what each side says and picking or weighing both sides and seeing which side's more powerful. Let's first start with the voting issues in this debate. The first one is which side solves gender equality faster, or which side actually solves gender equality. Because the thing is that the opposition's benefits are only predictions or thoughts of what could happen in the future. However, proposition has guaranteed benefits. We can see that by enacting this legislation, we'll have a 40% women in 4 years. And this means that women will already be introduced and more infused into higher workplaces. And the opposition says that we need to wait and make things go organically and hope that because there's been some promise in the past, we just need to wait another 50 or so years before women are thought of as equally to men. And the thing is, when it comes to reversing gender discrimination and taking a step towards equality in our world, the proposition is increasing the number of women in higher board positions, which means we are taking action right now and ensuring that women are at the same level as men. And this can be related to other movements that we're having right now, where people are taking action and making a change so that everyone is equal, rather than waiting and hoping that it'll happen organically. However, the opposition side refuses to make a change right now because they believe that gender equality will come naturally. In turn, women right now are left out of the workplace because, as we stated in the status quo, in the S&P 500, only 26% of women are board members, and even though women are half the world's population. So this means that women have to put significantly more effort to get to the same level as a man, and we want the stigma against women in the workplace to be eradicated by introducing more of them into higher corporate board positions. Next, I'd like to look at a voting issue: if women will be thought of as inferior to men, or will they actually be empowered? In the proposition side, when we add women to corporate boards, yes, there may be a certain number of people, a small portion, that think, oh, well, women, they are required to be here, so let's not think the same of them as us. However, what actually matters in a corporate board is how much a person contributes. And if women actually contribute and share their ideas, and we have proven in our first argument that the opposition has not refuted that women, actually our second argument, that gender diversity leads to more collaboration, productivity, and creativity, and thus more corporate success. Well, this means that women actually will contribute more to the workplace, as well as increase the company's market value. If a woman helps increase a company's market value, will they be thought of as less than a man? I don't think so. Now, I'd like to move on to weighing both worlds and seeing which side has the most positive impact. In the proposition side, we are gender equal, and proposition adds more women to higher positions and improves market value right now. And opposition does not have that equality or diversity and is hoping that it'll come in the near future. However, the thing is, we have a guaranteed impact that women will be infused into the workplace. And also, it is guaranteed that if women, since we have proved that women increase a marketplace's or business's value, that means that they'll be thought of as highly and contributing to the business. But in the opposition's world, their time frame is just too much scaled up. They're just waiting for women to be able to get into a workplace. And we've shown that right now, we aren't necessarily gender equal. That's why we need a legislation to eradicate or take away from the discrimination we have against women for the past few centuries. And we want to make that change now because we want to move into the future and infuse women into corporate boards as well as improve businesses. So we can see that the magnitude and time frame of our impacts is much more significant and recent than the opposition's, and that means that overall proposition side deserves to
Wrap
win.
it up.
Thank you very much, and I hope you vote prop.